Morning, Facebook, morning, YouTube. Hope we're all good. I was just getting everything set up. It is Monday. What are we on? The 16th. Monday, the 16th of June. We are over halfway through June. We are nearly halfway through the year. On Saturday, it is the summer solstice. It is the longest day of the year. So, yeah, we've got lots and lots going on. The dogs are being absolute idiots this morning. They are absolutely pushing my patience. They really, really are. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're just absolutely wild in the aisles, barking like mad. Everything's driving them wild. No idea what's going on. So if you can hear him, I'm not joking. Like Bloss is just nothing, absolutely nothing. There's nothing on the cameras. There's no deliveries. They have just decided to bark their heads off. Anyway, there we go. Let's have a little. As always, I don't even. Blossom, come here. I don't even know where she is. Betty's barking. She's just barking because Betty's barking. She's actually really good, Bloss. She doesn't really bark that much at all. It's just Betty just barks at anything that walks past the house at times. And she goes through phases with it. She's not always like that. She just has mornings where, right, I'm just going to be an absolute knob today. And that is where she's at the moment. Anyway, this is a weight loss live. If you've got any weight loss questions whatsoever, anything you might be struggling with, anything you just want my opinion on, please get into the comments. I'll do my very best to answer it. Let's do top 5 this morning. Faye's in at number 1, Michelle's in at number 2, Amy's in at number 3, Sheila's in at number 4, and Kelly C is in at number 5. You're my top 5 on TikTok this morning. Thank you very much for jumping straight to live, coming and saying hello. Lisa, good morning. John's in, morning. Hot one today. Well, do you know what? I've said this. We're away on Saturday. The weather here is amazing. It will be. Always is amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's flipping June. So, and to be honest with you, we've had a bit of rain. It's been a bit dull. I've had a good half an hour, 2 or 3 times in the garden last week in the middle of the afternoon where the weather's been pretty damn decent. So we have been very, very lucky. Are you coming in now? I'm going to go shut the door. You staying here now? Let me go shut the door because I can't be bothered listening to Betty. She can just bark herself to sleep. Sorry, everyone. I am back. I've just Blossom. I don't know. Blossom's just come in. And I can just hear Betty barking in the house somewhere. She's not disturbing anyone else. She can bark now to her heart's content. If I shut the door, I can't hear her. Blossom's here. Good morning, Blossom. Do you want to come say hello? You coming up? Or are you just chilling out? You coming up here? No? You got your bone? Right, she's happy. Right, we're all good. Right, you've got my undivided attention now. Yeah, the weather is meant to be amazing this week and going into next week. Dodgy, good morning. Amy, good morning. Anna, good morning. Emma Thomas, loving your podcast at the minute. Brilliant, Emma. Thanks very much. Yes, new podcast came out last week, which was... What's a new podcast last week? Oh, it was me. How I became a personal trainer. I did say I might do. I don't know if I did it on a live the other day or I can't remember. I'm either talking to someone about it or it was on a live. I said I might do a part 2 where I go from personal trainer to then working online. Now, don't get me wrong, that won't include weight loss, but I might actually talk about my weight gain because I think it's important for people to understand there's no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. And sometimes things happen where we might struggle a little bit. And, you know, when I transitioned from, when I say transition, I meant personal trainer to online. I know there's a different type of transition. I've not done that one yet. And when I went from being a one-to-one face-to-face personal trainer, yeah, I did struggle a little bit with a couple of different bits and pieces. I got a bit complacent with my eating, thinking, you still move loads, you can eat the way you were as a personal trainer. I might talk about COVID, about how that affected my mental health because my literally overnight my business disappeared. It shut down. You know, how did I cope with it? You know, my business is shut down. I was spending weeks on end with literally nothing to do. So what did I do to keep my mental health intact to stop me emotionally eating? So maybe I'll do a part 2. I'll do that obviously a little bit further down the line. But yeah, maybe I'll do a part 2. But I've had some really good positive feedback about that podcast. And I think it's, what I want for people to take from the podcast where is, I kind of want you to go that you can achieve anything if you put some, if I can go from being over £500 and nearly bedbound to within 4 years running my own personal training business out of a gym, spending 50 hours a week basically on my feet moving about, you can achieve anything. Anyone can achieve anything. I'm not special. I'm just Neil from Blackpool. I'm literally no different to anyone else. I've not got this magic. Don't get me wrong. I understand people's different mentalities are different, and I understand but you're in charge of this, right? Stop letting this be in charge of you. You're in charge of this. And I know it's not as easy as switching your brain on and off. And I know different people have different mental health issues. And I'm fully aware that, I don't want people to think I just turned this off, turned something that was very, very negative in my life into something very, very positive overnight. I didn't. It probably took me a good 6 to 12 months to get in control of this, and I have to work on it every single day to keep things in place to keep it. But I've been mental health wise as low as anyone can be, right? I never want to get too serious with things, but when you make a decision where you decide you don't want to be on this planet anymore, and then you make that choice and put things into place and attempt not to be on this planet anymore, that is as low as mental health can ever go. I've been there. I've been there a couple of times, but I've only been there once. Oh, flipping heck. I didn't mean to do that. Hang on. Right, guys, we have to come out and come back in on TikTok. Ugh. If you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, it won't matter to you, but I've had to come out and come back in on TikTok. You get invited, TikTok Live is amazing, right? The TikTok Live thing is absolutely, I'll explain it in a second. I'm sorry, guys, I've had to cut. I have no idea. But basically, I'll wait for a few people to come back on and I'll just explain what happened. I'll tell you in a second. But everyone that's following, they'll have found me again. It'll ping back on. But yeah, I'll just give it 5 minutes. Let everyone come back in. TikTok Live is absolutely amazing. It's the best live platform out of all social medias. But all TikTok want you to do is battle with other people, because basically, when you battle with other people on TikTok, it's not a battle, it's a popularity contest. But basically, you get two creators that come together that just beg for gifts, right? Gift me, gift me, gift me. Oh, I'm playing such and such. Do you prefer them to me? Well, if you prefer me to them, show me you prefer me by sending me gifts, right? And basically, what happens then is people gift you and it brings up points. And all it does is basically when you send a gift on TikTok, right, you get I get 50%, a bit less than that. So let's say you send me a gift on TikTok, which I'll always be appreciative of. I'll never say don't do that. But let's say you send a gift on TikTok and it's £1. I get 40p. TikTok gets 60p. So when people do these battles and people are gifting the creators thinking it's giving them points, yes, it's giving the creators money. But I've seen some battles where people get gifted 10 grand, right? And don't get wrong, to the creator, they get £4,000 of that, right? Which I would not turn my nose up as. But TikTok take 60%, right? And so when you do a live on TikTok, you basically get battered of people just inviting you. They don't even know who you are, right? Anyway, I clicked on him, and you can't turn them off. This is TikTok. It's a bit like my subscription on TikTok. I'm not in control of it, right? I'm not. Why? Because if I was in control of it, I could turn it off. And again, if you subscribe to my TikTok, it's like £6 a month. I get £2.50 of it. TikTok get all the money out of it, right? Facebook, if you subscribe, I get 90%. My Facebook page is £1. If you want to support me and subscribe to my Facebook page, it's £1 a month. That's it. And I pretty much get all of it, right? Facebook take 10p or something like that, which is fair enough. They're handling it all and they're doing all the transactions and there's this, that, and the other, right? But one thing I don't agree with is how TikTok absolutely fleece you guys and fleece us, which is why I don't. But you used to be able to turn off getting live invites. You can't anymore because everyone does it. That does live, that doesn't want invited. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, it's just, it's just a nightmare. Anyway, to cut long story short, someone sent me an invite, which they do every 5 minutes, and you just decline it, and I pressed accept by accident. Anyway, there we go. I'm back on now. So if you were in my previous TikTok live and you've answered the question and you've come back in now, ask it again because it'll have all disappeared. Anyway, we've done the top 5 on TikTok, all sorted. I detest those battles. It's begging. That's all it is. It's begging. It's begging. Like, I spend hours a week giving free advice out to you guys, helping you, doing these lives. So if you do want to gift me, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I'd rather you come and subscribe to my community because I get pretty much 100% of that. Or I'd rather you subscribe to my Instagram, or if you want to show me support, I'm always appreciative of that. And, and I do have people, I've got about 20 subscribers on Facebook that just pay me £1 a month because they appreciate all the free content that I put out there to help them on their weight loss journey. I'm not saying you have to do that, by the way, but yeah, and I push my subscriptions for TikTok. If I could charge £2 a month for TikTok, right, which you can't. I think the minimum is £6, right? And I got £1.50 and TikTok took 50p. I'd be like, yeah, come subscribe to my TikTok if you like logging into my lives every day, and I give you loads of advice and I answer your questions. I'd appreciate £1.50 off you a month just to help me, keep doing the content. But I just detest how much they just want to rip money out. Do you know what I mean? It's just a nightmare, Anyway, there we go. Kelly, good morning. Have you tried the My Protein Mousse puddings? I have. They're very good. They are very good. I don't think the goat, like milk, the goat chocolate pudding is always going to be the Ehrman one. The very first pudding, the protein mousse, that came out was the Ehrman chocolate mousse. It is still the best on the market. The Aldi Brooklear one is pretty much a carbon copy, and the My Protein one is very, very good. Now, one thing My Protein I brought out, I bought them in Iceland yesterday. Do you know Aldi do the yogurt with granola on top, little pot of granola to sprinkle on, and then they also do a yogurt with cereal crunchy balls on top? My Protein have brought out. My Protein have brought out dupes of Aldi. This is how you know when another company is duping you. So I think they're called My Protein Crunch. Anyway, I bought them. I'll be reviewing them this week in this week's Worth the Calories. So I bought them. But yeah, the My Protein mousses are decent. The My Protein salted caramel or caramel mousse is very, very good. I'm not a massive. I don't know if anyone else is like this. With salted caramel, I can take it or leave it. Some salted caramel things are absolutely amazing. Like the Grenade, chopped chip salted caramel is still one of the best protein bars on the market. It is unbelievably good. It's the best Grenade bar by a mile. And in all honesty, it probably is the best protein bar on the market. Right? Chopped chip salted caramel. Right? But then you get other things that are salted caramel, and it's just too overpowering. That's just my honest opinion. That is just my honest opinion. Yeah. What are your favourite ready meals for on the go to help with weight loss? Do you know what? I don't eat a lot of ready meals at all. The only time I ever have a ready meal is when I'm reviewing them for the Worth the Calories videos. Other than I work from home. I don't need ready meals, I work from home. I keep my cooking very, very simple. But I understand for a lot of people, they are very, very handy. You might not be great at cooking. You might not be bothered cooking. I'm always motivated to cook. Rachel says that. Rachel's she's like, if she ever goes away for a weekend, I still cook. I still cook exactly the same as normal. Rachel's like, when I go away for a weekend, she lives off ready meals because she's not a cook. She don't like cooking. She's not bothered about it, right? So they are a great option. They are a really handy option. Take to work, take the portion controlled. You can scan the barcode. And yeah, they're a really good option. What are my favorite ones? There are some very good, very good, what is it? My Protein ones, right, in Iceland. They've got some really, really good ready meals. They've got some rubbish ones as well, but a good few of their range is good. I think the Hunter's Chicken Pasta. I can't remember, like I say, because I don't eat them that often. Like I say, I've reviewed loads on my Worth the Calories videos. And if you click on my Worth the Calories videos and go into the description of the Worth the Calories, it tells you what I'm reviewing. So you don't need to sift through 20 minutes, and it'll tell you when the time is. So let's say you went and clicked on, like if I go to my YouTube now and I go into my playlist and I go into my Worth the Calories playlist and I just randomly click on episode 17. So if I click on episode 17, it literally, number one, Presto Kicking Korean noodle pot. I don't think they do those anymore in Aldi, to be honest with you, but that was a meal. The Health Greek Chicken Ready Meal. I don't think they do that one either. But what I'm trying to say is, you can go through my Worth the Calories, and if you see something, like let me click on another random one, and if you see a ready meal, you can then go and see if I say if it's any good or not. Worth the Calories. I didn't even put the list in that. When did I start putting? Oh no, that's the Get Baked. Oh, Get Baked. That was it. That was an episode and a half. Right, let's click on number 24. Look at that. I tell you, I don't do. Right, so there. So episode 24, My Protein Hunter's Chicken Pasta, 17 minutes, 19 seconds in. So it tells you, so you can go and have a look at that one, and then you can see if I say it's any good. But that one is good, right? That one is a decent one. Two that always stick out to me, there were two of the first, like what I call protein ready meals, as they were the Aldi protein range in the chiller section. Their sweet and sour chicken and their chicken tikka masala. Not the frozen Slimwell range, the protein, like, chilled range. The chicken tikka masala was like 430 calories. It's decent. And the sweet and sour chicken's a little bit less than that. But for me personally, I think they're both pretty good. The last ready meal I did was the protein frozen range from Aldi. Peri peri chicken. I thought that was decent. It's a ready meal at the end of the day. I've never eaten one ready meal where I'm like, oh my God, I need to buy that again. It's absolutely set my world on fire, right? I don't think there are lots like that. It's a ready meal at the end of the day. It's a mass-produced meal in that you're going to ping in the microwave, and in all honesty, if, for me personally, when I used to work in the gym and stuff and I didn't work from home, I just used to prep my own ready meal. So meal prep is prepping a ready meal. So just do a big pot of pasta bolognese, do my own curries, dish it up, some in the freezer, some in the fridge, But you're right. But the My Protein range, there's some good ones there from Iceland, and they're not stupidly expensive. Obviously, if you go to like M&S, right? M&S is top tier, isn't it? But their ready meals are like £6 a piece for some decent ones. You don't need to spend that, yeah. I use them sometimes when overnight at work. Got a couple of Asda ones to try this week. Yeah, absolutely. I think they've got a great place, And some people will jump on, processed. Oh, it's got preservatives in it. Oh, it's got this. I actually asked my local butcher the other day, right? So I went to my local butchers, and a lot of people, I do not promote, I post. Whether you buy it or not, it's down to you. But when I see something that I find interesting that I think could help people on a weight loss journey, I'll post it, right? And I do shop at Aldi, right? I don't shop at my local butchers. And people go, oh, you want to get to your local butchers? It's just as cheap. It isn't just as cheap as Aldi, right? And, people need to understand that, not everyone has the same income, has the same budget. Now, I always go to my local butchers once a week, and I probably spend 20 to 30 quid in there once a week, right? But I don't really buy chicken from there. And I'll tell you why. I love my local butchers. It's fantastic, but I know where they get their chicken from. And it's no different, really, than buying chicken from Aldi, right? Now, I've bought, a lot of people say, well, it's injected with stuff. It isn't, right? Aldi chicken's decent. I eat it all the time. You cook it, there's no water comes out of it, no white stuff comes out of it. It's a classic sign. If you cook anything and water comes out of it or white stuff comes out of it, right? It's been injected with extra water to make it heavy. I used to go to a place in Blackpool called Andy Meatman, and everyone raves about it because he's an independent butcher and he owns his own little butcher store. His meat, right? Some of his stuff's decent. Some of his stuff is absolutely shocking. I used to get chicken breasts from him, and like you get 5 kilos of chicken breast for 20 quid, which was a bargain. It was all injected with water, right? It was all this, that, and the other. But he used to, he used to import it from Poland. Because one time, I don't know if he slipped up or just because I used to go all the time. So he used to have his chicken breasts out in the front of the counter. Oh yeah, I'll have 5 kilos. And he'd wrap them all up for you, like, yeah, chop. And then one time I was like, have you got no chicken breast? He's like, yeah, I've got some in the back. And he just brought a box out. Right? And he had 5 kilos of chicken breast, imported from Poland. Right? But everyone's like, no, he's fret. He's like, no, he doesn't. He imports it. He's cheap, right? He's really reasonable. But because he puts it in a counter rather than it's VAT packed or sealed or anything, everyone thinks it's all, and it isn't. Right? And I don't blame him for that. He's charging 20 quid for it, right? You get what you pay for at times. But I was actually talking to my local butchers because, and do you know what? It was really, really, and I asked my local butchers this because everyone goes on about local butchers. And it only triggered me from Clarkson's Farm. I don't know if you watched the new series of Clarkson's Farm, and he's setting up a thing. And he was saying about he wants everything in there to be from the UK. And they were talking about like additives and preservatives that they put on meat to keep it looking, because meat does turn in colour. And I asked my local butcher, I said, do you put additives on, like preservatives? Like, I said, yeah, of course we do. We have to, otherwise that steak is absolutely fine for 2 weeks. But she said the blood turns in it like that. As soon as the blood turns in it, people go, I'm not buying that. And she said not all pieces we do, but she said certain cuts we do, certainly the fillet we do, because we can't afford not for it to sell. Whereas the rump and stuff says, like, if we don't sell the rump, the person on my local butcher's owns a cafe. If we don't sell the rump, we'll use that in a steak and ale pie, or we'll use it in something else. I was like, okay, fair enough. So I'm like, all these people that are up in thingy, and it's like, yeah, all your local butchers use preservatives to keep the meat looking fresh, because it oxidates when it gets in the air. I knew that anyway. I was talking about a piece of gammon the other week about it. Anyway, that's by the by. But what I'm trying to say is a lot of people demonise a ready meal because they'll be like, oh, it's got additives in it. Yeah, it's got something in it that makes it last a bit longer on the shelf. And again, what no one understands, what is never talked about, is called the threshold of harm. How much of something do you need to consume before it has a negative impact on your health? And when it comes to adding like artificial sweeteners in cans of Coke, you'd have to consume 70, 80, 100 cans of Coke, like Pepsi Max a day for months on end for it to start having. Now, don't get me wrong. If you drunk 40 cans of Pepsi Max in a day, you would get the tom tits, you get the runs, you go to the toilet, because it would be gut disruptive. Right? It's the same as if you buy like sugar-free sweets. It literally says if overconsumed will have a laxative effect. That's what it does, right? But in terms of getting the tom tits for a couple of hours because you've had too much artificial sweetener isn't a long-term health issue. It's just but it's overconsumption, right? But what a lot of people panic about, like aspartame, is it's a class 2 carcinogen. So a class 2, any carcinogen basically means it increases the risk of cancer. But a class 2 is, there's no randomized human trials to say it increases the risk of cancer in rats if given a ridiculous amount. Again, the amount you'd have to consume for it to increase the risk is just ridiculous, right? It's absolutely crazy, right? But a lot of people don't understand context, and that's because a lot of fearmongers that fearmonger around food don't use context. They don't understand that this, that, and the other. They don't. They just don't use context, and they do it on purpose because it's clickbait. We call it clickbait, but unfortunately, a lot of people get absolutely suckered into it. So yes, a ready meal, it does have some additives in it. It does have some preservatives in it, right? Your ready meal from Aldi, your chicken tikka masala, it's £2.99. Will have different types of sodium in there, which gives it a more stable shelf life. Because if I made a curry yesterday, right, and packaged it, that curry would be fine till probably Saturday, in all honesty. I would, if I made a curry yesterday, boxed it up, put it in my fridge, and it come to Saturday, so 5, nearly 6 days later, would I ping it in the microwave and eat it? Yeah. Would it make me ill? Absolutely not. When it comes to selling products, right, the shelf life of something that has zero additives or preservatives in, right, is literally the best before date, right, or the sell by date. It's not a use by date, but if you didn't have any additives or preservatives in a ready meal, any ready meal that was made on Sunday would not be able to be sold by Wednesday in a supermarket. And for something like Aldi, that because they keep the costs down, right, something that's made on Sunday in a factory might not get to the shelves at Aldi till next Saturday. So it'd be gone off before they could even put it on the shelf, right? So that means they'd have to get it to the supermarket. If it was made on Sunday, they've got to get it to the supermarket Monday morning, which is what M&S sometimes do, and certain things from other things. But that's why you'll then pay £8. You know, if you get, like the Charlie Binghams, now they do have preservatives in, but there's a reason why they're £8 instead of $3.99 or something. You know, so if you stop using preservatives in food, right, there would be, you think there's a cost of living crisis now, right? We would literally have the biggest rich poor divide like we used to have 150 years ago, right? There's a reason, the fact that bread now doesn't go off after 2 days means it can be 75p a loaf. Whereas if it went off after 2 days, they'd have to charge £4 a loaf, like they do in your local bakers. Because, if it's baked on Monday morning, it needs to be in the supermarket in an hour. That costs a lot of money to do that, Anyway, have your ready meals. They're all fine. Yeah. My sister has cancer. It's environmental cancer. She's the most healthiest person I know. Yes, you see carcinogens. Look, we all have cancerous cells in our body, right? And this is why it's so important to eat fibre, because it clears out a lot of cancerous cells out of our gut, right? It's what triggers them is the thing. So this is where, smoking certainly increases the risk of triggering cancerous cells in your body. Certain foods do, right? Certain lifestyles do. But again, it's fear-mongering. Aspartame, class 2 carcinogen, very, very popular. Spoke about this last week. Other class 2 carcinogens, being a hairdresser. If you're a hairdresser, your occupation has the same risks as giving you cancer as aspartame does, or increasing the risks, right? Does every hairdresser that's been a hairdresser for life get? No. Right? It's just with hairdressing, you're working with a lot of dyes, you're working with a lot of different bits and pieces. And the biggest hypocritical thing is all these people that demonize Facebook, YouTube, this thing here. Class 2, this is, it's not even a class 2, this is carcinogenic, right? Your mobile phone, right? Everyone's using them left, right, and centre. Everyone's using a mobile phone, which is way worse than something like aspartame, right? To then highlight the risks of aspartame. It's just hypocritical. Anyway, I've gone off on a rant this morning about that. But that's from ready meals. And why I've gone off on a rant like that, because a lot of people will demonize, things, and people take it literally. They'll read the comment and go, "Oh, I shouldn't have a ready meal because it's got a preservative in it." No, you're absolutely fine. And at the end of the day, if you're really unfit, really unhealthy and overweight, the last thing you need to worry about is having a few preservatives. And I mean that sincerely. When I was 37 stone, I'm struggling to move, I'm struggling to get out of bed, I'm struggling to breathe, right? If I can start to help control my calorie intake to a point where I can start taking some of this mass off my body, and that means I'm going to start consuming a lot of preservatives, right? Fine, because that is a lot less detrimental to my health than being 37 stone. I'm not saying everyone's weight issue is the same as mine, but again, there's no context around things. Ever tried a good cookies and cream protein powder? No. But they perform well. I love Oreos, and they're so bad for you. They're not so bad for you. Again, it's overconsumption, right? If you love Oreos, I love Oreos, right? What's bad for you? An Oreo is 51 calories each. Contains a little bit of sugar. Oreos are vegan, by the way. If you're plant-based, enjoy your Oreos. They are vegan. They are plant-based. Oreos aren't bad for you. And if you generally love an Oreo, are you ever going to get a protein powder or a protein bar that will bridge the gap and go, oh, I could eat this? Well, the milk chocolate Oreo from Grenade bar, I think is pretty decent, right? Does it replace Oreos? No. Does it bridge a gap every now and then? Yes. Do I still eat Oreos a lot? Yeah. Right, they're 51 calories each. Have a couple of Oreos, they're 150 calories. Bit of sugar, fine. Now, if you're smashing packets of Oreos in every day, yeah, that is going to be detrimental to your health. But if you're smashing 4 or 5 Grenade bars in every day, that's going to be probably because you're going to be consuming, well over 1,000 calories just in Grenade bars, on top of everything else you eat. Cookies and cream protein powder. I've got the Perform one. It just doesn't quite work for me. The Cookies and Cream Perform protein bar, we had it in not last month's, was it last month's? Maybe last month's Boschy protein box. I thought it was pretty decent. I don't think it was as good as the Grenade Oreo one, but it was all right. But again, it's not one that I'm like, wow, that was absolutely, certainly not a cookie dough, and it certainly wasn't the chocolate brownie one. But again, it's overconsumption, and this is where if anyone looks at any food type, whether it's a biscuit, a bag of crisps, or a lettuce, and you are looking at it going, that is so bad for me, I shouldn't be buying it, even though I enjoy eating it. That's a classic sign that you've got a very unhealthy relationship with food, right? And we need to correct that. We just need to be aware, right? Should I eat more apples than Oreos? Of course, apples are nutrient dense. They've got fiber, they've got vitamins, they've got minerals, they've got more volume there for less calories. But, can you still enjoy some Oreos as part of an overall healthy, balanced diet? Of course you can. Yeah. Right. Let me see. I had a bad experience with sugar-free sweets. Yeah, I've had some bad experiences with a lot of things. I do talk a lot from life. I don't want to go into any detail. No one needs to hear that, but especially on my weight loss journey, right? I've tried all sorts. I've tried everything: sugar-free sweets, sugar-free biscuits, and my mentality around eating things like that hasn't always been the healthiest. I have had that, that's sugar-free, so I can eat as much of it as I want to, or that's 0 calorie. I can consume. I've been there. I've done it. I've made the mistakes. So you hopefully don't have to, Let's go on. Festivities are over, £2.2 game. That's absolutely nothing. Well happy with that. You should be, Paula. No science to this. There is no science to this whatsoever. This is just from my own experience of being on this journey for 11 years, weighing myself after a period of overindulgence, and then weighing myself a few days later. I tend to find whenever I have a period of overindulgence, whether it's a weekend, whether it's a week holiday, whether it's Christmas, any weight gain I get, right, is normally, and to be honest with you, the shorter the period of time, the bigger this can actually be, right? But I normally find that around 70% of any weight gain is just excess water weight, food weight, water retention in the body, right? That is it. That is what I tend to find is the ratio. So when we have an overindulgent weekend, we eat more food. That increases your average food weight. It increases. We've always got an average food weight running through the body. You've got undigested food in your stomach. You've got semi-digested food in your small intestine. You've got fully digested food in your large intestine. And you've then got feces in your bowel. That is all waste. That is all different processes of food going through your body. And at any point in time, if I looked in your stomach, there is maybe not any point in time. You looked in my stomach now. Would I have food in it? Well, I'd actually have some medications because or supplements. So I would have a little bit of this. Would I have any? No. What I mean by that is food generally is out of the stomach within 3 or 4 hours, right? At the longest, right? Normally an hour or so, really, before it goes into your small intestine. But at any point in time, even though the last thing I ate last night was about 9 o'clock last night, so I've not eaten anything for 12 hours, have I currently got food in my small intestine? Probably will have a bit, yeah. right? Will I have food in my large intestine? 100%. Will I have food in my colon, in my bowel? 100%, right? So it's all different processes. And when we eat more food, it just increases that average, right? And then, so that'll show on the scales, certainly if you weigh straight afterwards, right? But that will even itself out very, very quickly. The only thing that causes fat gain and fat loss on a set of scales is calories in, calories out. And we have to have this a little bit of rationale about it that, this is a pound of body fat, and a pound of body fat contains 3,500 calories, right? So to gain one of these in fat, right, you would have to have consumed 3,500 calories above maintenance. So if you're like, well, my calories, Neil, are 1,800 a day. Yeah, but what's your maintenance, right? So I eat 2,600 calories a day on average, between 2.5 and 2.6, right? My maintenance is 3.5. So I would have to eat, to gain one of these, I would have to eat in a day, right? I would have to eat 3,500 calories above 3,500 calories. So I'd have to consume 7,000 calories. So Paula there, she's had a week where she's probably not been the most conscious of food, but then she's had some celebrating over the weekend because it's been her son's birthday. She's gained 2.2 pounds. So I don't know what she's gained 2.2 pounds. So I don't know if that's from last Monday to this Monday. I don't know if that's from Friday to Monday or what. She's getting, let's say she weighed herself Friday morning. She's weighed herself this morning. She's 2.2 pounds heavier. So for Paula to gain 2.2 pounds in 72 hours, right, she would have to have eaten 7,500 maybe, let's say 7,700 calories above her maintenance. Now, let's just say Paula's maintenance is 2,500 calories. That's 7.5 itself. So Paula over the weekend would have had to have eaten 15,000 calories. Now, if you are uneducated about calories, you've not counted calories before, you don't have a basic understanding, 15,000 might not seem that much, but it genuinely is. It's 5,000 calories a day, right? Now, that's a lot of food. Even if you're eating unhealthier foods, higher fat foods, it is a decent amount. So Paula there, she's gained in a whole week. So Paula's eating 7,700 calories over her maintenance. So let's say Paula's maintenance is 2,500 a day, right? So that's 17,500. So Paula had to have eaten 25,000 calories this week to gain 2.2 pounds in body fat. So what we can always assume is with a gain, and again, there's no science behind this. This is just, I've been on this journey 11 years. I've done a lot of holidays. I've done 10, 11 Christmases, something like that, depending on how the dates have fallen. And from 2015, I weighed myself pre-holiday. I weighed myself post-holiday. And it was in 2015 where I didn't understand the reason why, but I went on holiday with Rachel for the very first time. I went to Benidorm for 11 nights. So, and I went on holiday like I normally do on holiday. I'm going to enjoy myself. And I probably enjoyed myself a bit more on that holiday than I had. I think before that holiday, I think I'd done 2 other holidays. I think I let my hair down a little bit more because it was my first one with Rach. She'd never been to Benidorm before. I wanted to show her Benidorm. We were, drinking, eating, going out, enjoying a few nights out on the strip and this, that, and the other. So it was a fairly calorific week. I came back from that holiday and I was 11 pounds up. So I gained 11 pounds in 11 days, so about a pound a day. And it was the first time I'd actually weighed myself pre and post holiday. And don't get me wrong, it did shock me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, God, I've gained 11 pounds. Now, straight away in my head, my own rational thinking, I was at that point about 150 pounds down before going on all this. I'm like, I'm still over 10 stone down. Everything's all good. Now, I weighed myself on the Monday. I then weighed myself on the Friday, a few days later, and I think I'd lost 8 of it, maybe 9. And I'm like, well, if I go on holiday and I gain 11 pounds and most of it's gone within 4, and all what was happening was, I just, from the Monday, getting back from holiday, I just went straight back into my regular eating pattern, eating a bit healthier, drinking more water, less volume, less refined carbs, a bit less salt, rehydrate my body because I've been in a hot country and I drunk alcohol. And yeah, I just balanced the force, as it were, in my body. Now, from going on holiday for 11 days, was it perfectly acceptable that I gained £3 in body fat? Yeah. So some of it was body fat. And just like Paula there, she's gained 2.2 pounds, right? Can we assume that, maybe she's gained half a pound of body fat from a, yeah, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with gaining every now and then a little bit. And if Paula gets her head down and gets back into doing what we do from today, next check-in, or certainly, the next full two. So I don't know if Paula, I think Paula's checking in this Friday. So will it be gone by this Friday? We'll find out. But certainly when she checks in 2 weeks on Friday, which gives, she should have had a full sort of run, it'll be gone. It'll be gone, and that's it. Too many of us panic, and it's just about. I reckon I can get that off before Friday's checking easily, but we should say, yeah, we'll see. We'll see, and to be honest with you, if Paula goes back into being conscious about a calorie deficit and this, that, and the other, what we have to accept is, let's say Paula eats, I don't know, 1,400 calories a day. That would be enough of a deficit by Friday to probably, now don't get me wrong, fat oxidation and showing on the scales can be a day or so behind, right? So let's say she might get 3 days worth of calorie deficit by the time she weighs on Friday, and she's in 1,000 calorie a day deficit. That would be nearly a pound of fat loss. So she can lose a little bit of fat before then, but we'll see what the scales say. Now, if Paula comes in on Friday and she's -2 down, so she was 2.2 up, but she's -2 from previous check-ins, so she might actually be 3.5 pounds down. It just goes to show that it was pretty much all, over short periods of time. Could all of the gain be excess? What? Yeah, of course it can. Of course it can. You might have a maintenance week, right? And so a maintenance week is eating the calories you burn. You don't lose body fat, but you don't gain body fat. If from having a maintenance week, right, if from having a maintenance week, you eat the same calories as you burn, you don't gain body fat. You don't lose body fat. You already said that, Neil. I know. But your weight will go up because by having an extra 3,500 calories, you are increasing food weight, water weight. Your choices for what you eat might not be as healthier as they were. Refined carbs, more refined carbs you normally eat, more salt you normally eat from takeaways or meals out. This, you might spend some on alcohol that'll dehydrate you a little bit. That will all bump the scales up. So can any gain from, even if you are in a maintenance calories, yeah. What happens if you're in a deficit? Yeah, you can gain in a deficit, right? So I put myself in a calorie deficit of about 5,000 to 6,000 calories a week at the moment, right? I eat I eat about 2,500, 2,600 calories a day on average. I've done that for a long time. That's what my body's used to. That is what my average food weight, water weight is based off. If I this week, right, ate 3,000 calories a day, so I increased my calorie intake by 400 to 500 a day, which would be an extra 3,500 over the week, right? So sorry, I put myself in about a 7,000 calorie deficit a week at the moment, give or take, right? At the end of the week, I'm still in a 3,500 calorie deficit. I will still lose a pound of body fat. But because I'm eating an extra 3,500 calories more than I would normally eat, would I see a gain on the scales? Yeah, because my average water weight, food weight, and water retention will increase just from an increase in calories. It's not fat gain, it's just a bit of weight gain, right? So again, we need to kind of build up this understanding about how the scales work, Does that mean you'll need to eat keto style though to get the water off? No, absolutely not. Don't change your eating habit. Just go back. So when I say more refined carbs, what we mean by more refined carbs is like cakes, biscuits. If I've got a few more calories, let's say like Paula has had her son's birthday this weekend, right? Birthday parties are like buffet teas, birthday cake. If it's a birthday party where you've got adults involved, you might have a couple of glasses of wine or prosecco or a couple of beers, right? That's all going to increase like refined carbs. Refined carbs will boost your glycogen stores in your body, right? And that stores a bit of excess water. Having something like alcohol will dehydrate you. That will increase water. right? So you never need to change eating habits to, and a lot of people are like, how do I stop excess? What you don't, it's just a natural thing in the body. Never try to, anything that naturally happens within the body, please don't try and stop it. It's natural. Don't try and stop something, don't try and do something unnatural just to boost the scales a little bit. It's just a crazy mindset to have. Right. So if I eat a certain way the majority of the time, and then the odd week I eat slightly more than that, it's just going to boost things up a little bit. And then when I get, so I'm going on holiday on Saturday. That's my cut-off point. My restart point is Monday the 30th of June. So for 9 days, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. Right. When I get back on Monday, I'm not going to weigh myself. But my what will I do on Monday to get rid of my holiday weight? I'll just do what I've done since Christmas. Just go back to my normal eating pattern, and it will just correct itself over time. It'll just reduce the averages over time. So there's no need to go, oh, I've had a week's holiday. This is my normal eating pattern, but because I've had this week's holiday, I'm not going to go back to my normal eating pattern. I'm going to starve myself for a week. No one should ever do the ketogenic diet. The only thing, on purpose. Some days you'll eat more carbs than others. Some days you'll eat less carbs. Carbs are, they're essential for brain function. They're essential for hormone regulation. They're essential for optimal energy in the body. So we should never go, oh, I'll do keto for a week. Don't be. That's just unhealthy, right? Now, what people need to understand about carbs is a blanket term. Right. So by you saying I'm going to do keto, you're not going to eat fruit and veg. You're not going to eat new potatoes or a jacket spud. Right. You're not going to eat pulses or beans or quinoa or anything like that. That's what carbs are. Yes, carbs also cover biscuits and sweet treats. And yeah, if you have a week of overindulgence where you've had a lot of like Christmas, the first 2 weeks after Christmas, I'll have bits of sweet stuff here and there, but nothing major. I don't need it. I've eaten my body weight in roses and that for 2 weeks. I've had enough, right? So I'll just go back to my normal eating pattern. Will I have maybe a bit of an ice cream sundae on Saturday? Yeah. Like I might get some low-calorie ice cream from Aldi, a bit of squirty cream, a little bit of drizzly sauce. Yeah, right? But there's absolutely no reason to massively change, eating patterns. Just go back to what you normally do. Yeah. Right. Let me scan up, see what's going on. Any tips on dealing with anxiety? Really struggling to get into a routine because of it. Do you know what? I can only give advice out on things in a way. Don't get me wrong. I take a lot on for my clients and I learn from my clients. And, I take a lot on from my clients. And I take a lot on from my clients, and so I learn from them is what I'm trying to say. But there are certain things that I struggle to talk about because I've never really suffered with them. Now, don't get me wrong. I used to have anxiety as when I was 37 stone in terms of like if I was going to a new restaurant that I'd never been before, I was a bit anxious about it, but it was never an overriding feeling. Rachel really suffers badly with anxiety, where things will play on her mind for ages. I've never been like that. So I've had periods of anxiety. I think everyone at certain points in time gets anxious. And, I've had things like beer fear the next day and I can't remember what I did the night before and this, that and the other. And, but it's not something I can really talk about or give advice on, as it were, because it's especially, I think when it's mental health and stuff, I think unless you've personally felt it yourself, it is very hard to talk about it. The only thing I can say about mental health is obviously I've had a lot of mental health issues, and I used to have a lot of things that affected my mental health, and obviously anxiety is a mental health thing. And all I can say is, for me, I just tackled the things that, what made me lonely, what made you tackle them. So, and I know it's not as easy as this, but what's making you anxious? There's always an overriding thing that, Rachel had it about 18 months ago, and her anxiety was just, it was really, really bad. And what she was struggling with was that it was her own self-worth. Like, she didn't feel she was good enough. And she didn't have any therapy over this. We just sort of talked about it ourselves. And, and this would be about, this would probably be about maybe 12 months ago. And this is when she made the decision about going back into work. So I think because she'd worked for the Real Lost Boss, and she didn't have a boss, as it were. Like, I'm not her boss, she's my boss. Bloody hell, but she'd worked for herself, and she wasn't that, she wasn't that passionate about the business. And that doesn't mean she's not passionate about weight loss. It's just, it wasn't her baby. It's my baby. So she was doing the bits and pieces. She also found it very hard working with me because I find it very hard to let go of control. I'm very much like, no, I'll do it. No, I'll just do it. No, it's easier for me to do it. And it's not easier for me to do it. It's easier to get Rachel involved because it makes my life easier. But I'm a control freak at times. So she struggled with that. And so maybe I was, because I was like, no, I'll just do it. Like, am I making her feel like she's not good enough? But that's not a reflection on her. That's a reflection on me. And then we made the decision about, Rachel was like, I need to be back in an environment where I feel needed, as it were. She said, it's your business, it's your baby. And this was Rachel's decision. And at the time, her anxiety was really bad. And it might be like, well, how'd you go back into work when your anxiety is really bad? Well, she just sort of, this is when her weight loss really started to kick in. And she didn't feel, she just didn't feel, and she was like, right. And I think she obviously listens to me all the time. And I talk about how being healthier, being on a weight loss journey, losing weight. And now I've never seen Rachel as confident in my life. She's dropped 5 stone. She's got a new job. She's been for interview. And literally we made that decision around we spoke about it. And she was like, I'm going to go back into employment. And I think from that, she just sort of, kicked in like, right, if I'm going to go back into employment, job interviews, I need to feel the best I can feel. And that drove her on. And a knock-on effect of her, she's lost a lot of weight. She's eating healthier. She's eating better. Hydration. She started taking some supplements. She started training more in the gym. And then, and I think the icing on the cake was when she got a job, which buzzed her up. And then when she contacted her old company, or a company that she kind of used to work with some of the staff there, and she used to work for the old director for another company. As soon as they were like, "You're looking for a job?" "Yeah." "When can you start?" It was literally like that. And she was like, "What?" She said, "No, I've got a job. I just want a reference." She said, "Whatever they're offering, we'll match it or beat it or whatever. But if you want a position, we've got a position here for you. We want you to come and work with us because we've worked with you before in your race." And that was it. And that was icing on the cake. And now I've never seen her the way she is at the moment. She's absolutely flying. So that, again, I can only talk from Rachel's experience. And I know Jen is saying there, I'm struggling to get into routine because of my anxiety. And it is that catch-22. Sometimes it's not as easy. Sometimes there's no easy answers. Sometimes it is just a case of, if your anxiety is really bad because of where is your anxiety really bad because of where you are at the moment in terms of your health and your weight and stuff, then the way to sort that out is you've got it. And don't get me wrong, I think Rachel probably found it for her first 3 or 4 months of doing it. It wasn't easy. She had to really, she had to really get her head into the game, and she had to put the effort in, and she had to say no, and she had to, she had to fight it a little bit. But, she did that. And like I say, there were no easy answers. There wasn't anything for us. She just got into it. But like now, and Rachel's in a position where, like, she, we went to JD last week, and I bought a new top and shorts, and she bought like new, and she was like, and Rachel's always struggled with her weight a little bit. And she's quite short, Rachel. She's only 5'2", so she just doesn't carry any weight that she might carry. That, I always say this: a certain weight at 5'2" is a totally different weight if you're 5'8" or 5'9". if Rachel was 5 inches taller now, she'd be absolutely perfect weight, really, in a way. So, I mean, I'm not saying she's not a perfect weight now. I love her whatever shape or size she is, but it's the fact that she's, buzzing because she's never really been able to go to J. Well, she's not just going to JD. She's going to JD. She's going down the rack. She put a top on. I'm like, it's hanging off you. You need try a medium or a large in women's rather than getting the XL. So yeah, that's the only way I can talk about it really. But yeah, for me personally, I've never been a very anxious. Like I say, there's a difference between every now and then feeling anxious. Everyone, I think, feels anxious. Nerves, isn't it? A little bit of anxiety, overthinking. You tend to. And I remember asking Rachel, I said, what was, when you're feeling anxious, she said, it doesn't matter how little something would be. I'll create 10 endings. One's a really great ending. One is a terrible ending. And I just focus on the terrible ending. Everything. It could be anything. It could be going for a night out. And she said, it could just be going shopping. She said, we'll go shopping and I'll just create how this shopping. I'm like, we're just going to Asda. She's like, yeah, but this is. And I'm like, yeah, I've never been like that. I've never been like that. And she says, the more, she says, don't get wrong, shopping's fine. I can push myself through it. But we'd be, friends would be like, do you want to go out for tea? I'm like, we're going out for tea. It's flipping whoever, Bob and Sarah. We've been out for tea with Bob and Sarah a million times. So I can't go out with them. Like, what do you mean? I can't. And that's where her anxiety was over 12 months ago. She was like, yeah, that can't. I was like, we've done it a million times. What are you on about? But she's like, I create all these scenarios in my head and I just fixate on the worst one. And then, but for everything, whether it's going shopping, whether it's, going out for tea, whether it's walking the dog sometimes, now she never got to that stage, but some people are like that. Some people overthink things and then they can't leave the house, But you've got to get hold of it before it gets hold of you. You've got to get hold of it. But normally there's a trigger. And I think Rachel had two big triggers for what she's always struggled with her anxiety. She always will do. But at that point in time, I think she had two big triggers. She'd been self-employed for 12, 18 months. And this was probably a little bit of my fault. She didn't feel wanted or worth, in the business. And then number two, she just didn't feel good about herself from where her weight currently had got to. Two big factors. And she's fixed both. And like I say, now she's fine. And again, Rachel's just Rachel. She's not doing anything special. She's just, had to put it in. Have a similar thought process, self-hatred, lack of worth, but working on it. Yeah, a lot of people, Michael, are like that. I did have that, and I've talked about this on my own weight loss journey. Big switches that I've made in my own mindset. And I used to be such a negative person. And now I'm such a positive person. And that drives Rachel wild at times. I will always play devil's. I always play devil's advocate. I always try and see the good in people. And some people would say that's not a bad trait. I don't think it is. But in some ways, I can get why it can be, because Rachel's like, I just want to offload. I've just had a really bad day at work. But I said, I don't need you sitting there telling me what my boss's mindset might have been today or the struggles he might be going through. So I should have so. And I'm like, no, I get that. But that's just me. It's just who I am as a person. I always try and see both sides of the story. I always try and play devil's advocate. And I was never like that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I was never like this. But I am. And I just think, I spent so much of my life in this manic, depressive, state. I just never want to be there ever again. And I just find thinking of things in a positive light, thinking of things in a better way, it drives you on. Negativity will always hold you back. It will in so many ways. And again, mental health, you can't switch it on and off. I'm fully aware of that. I'm not trying to say that's what you need to do, but you've just got to, you work on things. And that's what I did. I worked on my triggers. I found alcohol was a big one for me. And when I started my weight loss journey, I kind of knocked it on that. I still drank, but very limited compared to what I used to. I never drunk to a point, very rarely, where alcohol could take hold of me. I always drunk within control. So I used to go out most Friday nights at the start of my weight loss journey, and I'd have 3 or 4 pints. 3 or 4 pints for me was never ever, there was no anxiety, could fully remember everything, was never drunk, it never affected me the next day. I'd wake up the next day, I'd never even feel I'd have a beer, really. I'd wake up the next day and go, maybe a slightly tighter than normal, but nothing to the point whereas previous to my weight loss journey, I'd go out and get smashed all the time. Beer fear, waking up, anxious. What have I done? What did I do the night before? Why have I done that to myself? Oh, God, I feel like I'm never drinking again. Don't get me wrong. I've still had those times on my weight loss journey, but they're few and far between. Now, 2022 into 2023, when I moved from one-to-one personal training to online. I gave up doing my fitness classes as well. Didn't have any accountability to myself. And I started to slip again with drinking. And not to the point of like where I was at 37 stop, but I used to drink a lot. I went through a phase where I used to drink a lot. Like compared to what I used to, like a few beers on a Friday, a few beers on a Saturday, probably most Saturdays getting quite tipsy in a way. And I didn't like it. But I still did it. And, I sort of tried to knock that on the head a bit last year. This year, I hardly drink and I feel so much better. And like I say, I don't ever want to be that person where I'm never going to drink ever again. But, I go weeks and weeks and weeks now. Like, don't wrong, get to Benidorm on Saturday, first cafe we go to, first restaurant for a bit of lunch. Am I going to have a nice cold beer? 100%. I love and enjoy a beer. But, I've not had a beer for 5 weeks, so I feel like I deserve one. And it'll only be a couple, right? But I massively reduced my drinking. That massively improved my mental health. Massively. Changed my jobs. Some things need to be drastic. I've worked in sales for years. The pressure of working in sales was horrible. I hated it. I found it very lonely. I was traveling about a lot on the road. It wasn't always the most honest of occupations, which I didn't like. And I'm not saying I'm not the most honest of people. I am. But you were encouraged by the company not to go out there and blatantly rip people off. But you were taught sales techniques that just felt a little bit like pushing the boundaries. I didn't like it. Right? I genuinely didn't like it, but that's the way you were taught, and that's the way they wanted you to be. And you had to hit such high targets that if you weren't using those techniques, you wouldn't hit your targets, and then you've got more pressure on you. It was just a horrible environment that but I took myself out of it. I had to, So there's lots of things, and if we're sat there struggling, you've got to recognize I was, gained quite a bit of weight back 2022, 2023. I didn't feel great about myself. I felt a bit, like I was slipping a little bit, letting myself go. I didn't want to admit it to myself. I didn't really want to admit it to you guys because it's quite a hard thing to face. But I've always tried to be honest with you guys that I am still on my own journey and I'm always going to still make my own mistakes and stuff. I just always am, right? Make the odd mistakes. But, I wasn't feeling too great about myself. And now I feel $1 million, right? And don't get me wrong, I've never felt terrible. I've never gone anywhere near back to when I was 37 stone. But, I think the best I've ever felt on my weight loss journey was sort of 2018, 2019, when I was a PT, when I was really on it. I felt really fit, healthy, strong, working hard, looking after myself properly. And I feel like that now. And I actually never thought I could do that doing a sedentary day job. I didn't think I could feel the same in a way, which sounds daft because there's loads of fit and healthy people that do sedentary day jobs, but I think I was just using that as an excuse. I genuinely think I was. I think I was just using that as a bit of an excuse, Made a promise to myself in January I would love myself more. 2 stone down and loving life. Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got, I think it's a big part of it. Loving yourself. And I don't mean loving yourself as in being really vain and posing in front of mirrors and stuff like that. It's just enjoying where you're at, enjoying life, feeling like, yeah, just enjoying life, enjoying where you're at. It's hard to explain sometimes, but yeah, there's nothing. You do need to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, no one else can love you. And like I say, it's not a vanity thing. It's not about posing in front of a mirror. It is that self-worth thing. It's feeling like you're worth it. And a lot of people will struggle to have a successful weight loss journey unless you do feel like that, unless that is your mindset. Because unless you have your own self-worth, self-belief, this is a big trigger for self-sabotage. A lot of people, when you go on a weight loss journey, you do feel better about yourself. You do feel more confident. You do feel, good. What happens then is a lot of people don't feel like they deserve to feel like that. You get that little devil that I always say pops up on your shoulder, and that little devil will go, you don't deserve to look better in that top. You don't deserve to get compliments. You don't deserve. And when you're feeling like that and you start to look good in tops, you start self-sabotaging because you don't feel you deserve it. You start beating yourself up. Whereas, and it's not a vanity thing. This year, I've had, I've spoke about it a couple of times. The other week, a guy that I know from the gym, I've known him forever. He's been a member there way longer than I have. He's a nice guy as well, and he's in good shape. And certainly for his age, he's in good shape. And we were training, not together, but we were on a cable machine. I was on one side, he was on the other. We were just having a natter about things. And he just turned to me, not provoked. I wasn't talking about my journey or anything like that. He just said, by the way, you look great at the moment. And I was like, straight away in the back of my head, I like, so what you're saying is 12 months ago, I looked like garbage. But no, again, that is what a lot of people think. And I didn't think like that. I would just take it because a lot of people do think like that. When someone says, it's like that old thing, like, why are all these people buying me smelly stuff for Christmas? And they trying to tell me I smell and stuff like that. But basically, he said, you look great at the moment. And I took the compliment and it buzzed me up. I felt great. I remember telling Rachel, I said, Eric just said I look great at the moment. She said, well, you should do because you do look great at the moment. So thanks. And likewise, you're right. My friend Chris, really good guy, runs the health club that where runs Ruby Hall Health Club sort of thing. I've not seen him for ages. And he was just walking through the car park about a month ago. I was like, oh, where the hell have you been? Not seen you for ages. We're chatting a bit on WhatsApp and stuff. But he was like, I've just been busy. We've been doing this. They built a new Papa John's at Ruby and this, that, and the other. And he said, blah, blah, blah. And he'd not seen Rach since Christmas. And he just went, wow, you're looking amazing. And she was like, oh, thanks very much. And, again, Rachel struggles to take compliments. But I've got to say, no, you do look amazing. Right? And you should take it. But that self-sabotage when we get like that, when you put a top on, you don't feel like you should. When people give you compliments, you don't feel like you deserve them. That's where self-sabotage. And if you feel like that, you've got to change it. You do deserve compliments. You do deserve to look good in that top, right? You do deserve to feel more confident, right? You do. Everyone does. And for whatever reason, I'm sorry, whatever you've been through in life to get to the point where you don't feel that you deserve compliments, but you do. Everyone does, right? And you've got to have that positivity about yourself, yeah? Or dismiss the compliment. Yeah, absolutely. Or dismiss the compliment. So many people are just, it's nice to say, oh, they were probably just saying that, or they're probably, no. I always say this, right? Unless it's your mum, because your mum will always tell you you're beautiful. That and I don't mean this, but it's a mum's job to always tell you look beautiful, right? You look great, right? My mum told me, she always told me that when I was 37 stone, and in her eyes, I might have done. I know I didn't, I wasn't, but it's your mum's job. But when you get a friend or a colleague or something like that genuinely gives you a compliment, right? It isn't, people don't find, it's not like a natural thing for people to give out compliments for a lot of people. So when someone does give a compliment out, you should take it as what it is there for. Don't take it as a passive thing, like, oh, they're probably just saying that because they're dead nice, right? No, genuinely, when people give compliments, and especially if you get a couple of compliments over a short period of time from different people, you've got to take that as a massive positive thing. You genuinely have, Right, let me scan up. God, I feel like we've gone off on all sorts on this on this live, which is good. I love these lives. I genuinely do. I'm going to miss them next week. I'm not here. So what's going on this week? What's going on with me this week in terms of obviously, going away Saturday? Nothing changes. It is head down, work as normal, try and stay out of holiday mode, keep motivated. I'm going to track calories to the best of my ability all the way up to going to sleep Friday night. Right, that is it. In terms of work, again, nothing different. We've got live tonight at 8 p.m. We've got live to this is just social media lives, by the way. This isn't community lives. So live tonight at 8 p.m. Social media live on Tuesday morning, one Thursday morning, one Friday morning. Right, so we're gonna keep ticking the social media lives off as normal. Now Friday afternoon, Rachel's going to get her eyebrows done. Then we're going to the gym, and then we're just going to grab a bit of tea on the way home. Probably be a KFC. Normally we have a tradition; we always get a KFC the night before we go on holiday, just freeze. So I'm going to do like a sign off live. I think Rachel's getting her eyebrows done at 3:00 on Friday. I think. So we're going to do a sign-off live. So I'll jump, while I'm waiting for her in car, I'll probably jump on then and do a live. Now, in terms of my community, one-to-one plans, I am writing plans up. I've had someone sign up yesterday, and someone signed up Saturday, someone signed up yesterday. My next start date is Monday. If you want to come on my one-to-one plan, we can get you going on Monday. Right? My cut-off for that is Wednesday. So Wednesday night, that is it. Anyone that signs up after Wednesday evening, my next start date to go on plan is going to be sometime mid-July. I'm having a couple of weeks off from writing plans. So if you want to come on my one-to-one plan, you want to get started a week today. Yes, I'm on holiday, but you don't need me here to start the plan. You'll have your plan. You follow it. I'll be back a few days later, right? You're not going to check in until a week on Friday after you start the plan, which I'll be back. I do check-ins on holiday anyway. So the only time I ever do check-ins is in between Christmas and New Year and the first week of January. Those are my only complete 2 weeks off throughout the entire year. So we can get you going. Likewise, you can join my community. And in the community this week, we've got 2 weight loss coaching lives. We've got 11 a.m. tomorrow morning and 5 p.m. Thursday is a weight loss coaching live. One of the weight loss coaching lives I'm doing this week is make hay while the sun shines. All right, so weather's going to be ace this week. So I'm just going to talk about when times are good, make it good in terms of weight loss. When times are a bit tougher. So I do a lot of lives, which there are good and bad times to lose weight, which we need to accept. But I'm actually going to talk about when it is a good time, what we should be doing to optimize our losses. If it's a tougher time, what we should be doing to try and keep the journey going the best we can. All right. So we have got kids' summer holidays coming up. That can be a tougher time for people. So I'm going to talk about that. I don't know whether I'm doing that tomorrow or Thursday yet. I've not quite decided on the topic of the other weight loss coaching live this week. And then, of course, we've got our Everything Weight Loss Zoom session in the community Wednesday morning. If you want to join the community, TikTok profile, click on my link tree, Facebook page, YouTube channel, click on my link tree. There's a little shop in there now. So the first tab in my link tree is an inquiry form. Send over an inquiry form, whether you're inquiring about the community or the one-to-one plan. I'll send you all the details. Or you can just click on the shop and you can sign up to my one-to-one plan monthly. You can sign up yearly and save yourself a really decent chunk of money. Or you can just join the community. First month is just £5 using code WELCOME. If you sign up to any of those, you can take part in the extra lives that I do during the week that is just for the community exclusive lives. And then, I'm just heading it. As soon as I wake up Saturday morning, calories don't exist. They will start existing again a week on Monday, 2 weeks today, 30th of June, where I'll just get back. Will I change anything? No, I'll just get back into doing what we do. And that holiday weight will sort itself out. Once I get back down to the weight I weighed on Friday, I'm then going into a maintenance phase for a couple of months. I've had enough of weight loss for this year, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Now, it all depends on where you are in your journey. I'm at a different part to a lot of people. So not everyone has the option, but eventually you will get there where you might slip into a weight loss phase and you might come out of it for a couple of months. That's where I'm at the moment. I'm kind of where I wanted to be by the end of the year. And I do want to start building up a little bit more muscle in my body. So I don't feel like I've done the last proper sort of muscle building that I went on was kind of 21, 22. Don't feel I've done that for a good couple of years. So we're going to start. I'm going to increase my calories by 500 a day from where they are now. I'm still going to sit in a little deficit because even though I'm going to sit in a little deficit, I am going to have some food freedom weeks. I've got quite a lot of stuff going on over summer. So a few weeks in a deficit, a few weeks surplus maintenance. I should come out of the summer the same weight as I am now, basically, which is kind of my mission, but with a bit more muscle packed on. Not a lot. You can't build that much muscle in a few months. So yeah, I'm going to increase my calories by 500 a day, but that 500 a day is just going to be 250 calorie protein shakes just to increase the protein to help with muscle synthesis. There we go. That's my plan. Money Boss, hope you're well, Neil. I'm very good. Martin, yes, I'm really, really good. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm ready for a break. I'm ready to switch off. My brain is a bit fried at the moment. Just working, just work. It's nothing like, oh, why, what's going on, Neil? Nothing, just work. If you're, I mean, this where's Blossom? Oh, she's there. Hello, darling. I didn't know where you were. Are you okay? You come and say hello before I finish or not? Are you all right? Come on, dear. Come say hello. You coming up? Come on. Hello. Good morning. Oh, you've just been asleep, haven't you? You've just been Bobos. Who's just been Bobos? All right. Hello. Say hello. Good morning, everybody. Hello. You're going for a groom this week, aren't you? He's going to get their hair done before the holidays. You're going to your nana's for holidays, aren't you? You're going to go to Nana Jew's. Where's Nana Jew? You love Nana Julie, don't you? Yeah, you love going to her house for a week. You can play with Cooper and Pickles the cat. Yes, you love it. It's your favourite. Oh, yes, you do. You do. So it's so important for you to have a break from all this, but it always throws my. I know you guys do miss me for a week. I'm going to try and get some content out next week just to keep you a little bit entertained, aren't we? So we're going to work double hard this week to try and do double content for you guys. But yeah, I do, and it is. It's just look, if you're working hard, any job that you're in. Every 12 to 14 weeks, you need a break. You need a break. You just need a bit of time, a bit of downtime for your head to chill and not have to think about, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I'm not going to stick to my schedule. I'm not going to do that. That's all I need. And then in a week, I'll be back and we'll be ready to go. Won't we, Bloss? We'll be back and ready to face the next few months before the next little break. Right, are you going down? Are you all right? Are you happy? Or should we just sign off? Oh, she's so cute. Oh, yeah, right, we're going now. We're going. I've got to hang up some washing. I've got to do the weekly weight loss vlog. And then I'm going to the gym. You're not going to the gym. You're going to bed. You're going in your crate for a couple of hours. Yes, you are. Right. Neil, I've hit 125, gone down. 0.4 pound loss since July 23. You've been a massive encourager. Thank you, Martin. That's amazing, mate. Honestly, it's absolutely superb. Right, guys, I've got to go. It's been a pleasure as always. If I've missed any questions, please don't take it personal. I will be back 8 p.m. this evening. So if you're free tonight and you're a bit bored and you want to come and have a natter with me, I'll be back this evening at 8 p.m. Have a great Monday, whatever you're doing. It is a new weight loss week. It's a new set of calories in the bank. Steps to zero. Lay that foundation. Good Monday, Tuesday. We'll roll hopefully into a good Wednesday, good Thursday, good Friday. You know, it is. I am a big believer that, you know, nail your Monday, Tuesday, and you're laying that foundation for a really good weight loss week. So do the best you can today. The sun is shining. Well, it is in Lancashire, so make the most of that as well. And I'll see you in literally let me do the maths, about 10 hours. So I'll see you at 8 p.m. tonight. Have a great Monday. Oh, Facebook, YouTube. I always forget, these guys I have done it once where I've just totally not signed off to you. And then the live was about 4 hours long, so I just left it running. Anyway, guys, have a great Monday, Tuesday. Have a great Monday. I'll be back 8 p.m. tonight. YouTube, Facebook.